Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess today. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
We have the brother Leon Thomas. Welcome, bro.
What's good? What's good? How y'all feeling?
How you feeling?
Blessed, black, and highly favored. Leon, you are by far the greatest new male R&B singer doing it today.
Man, thank you so much.
That shouldn't even be up for debate.
Man, I really appreciate that, man.
How do you receive that?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I try to just take it one step at a time. I try to stay humble with everything. But I'm glad to be a new voice in R&B. It's a genre that I love. I'm trying to bring back live musicianship, real songs. Writing with the team that I have has been an amazing pleasure. And, just bringing like that organic feeling back to the live stage is like a big thing for me,
One of your biggest fans, who's a producer up here, he put us on to you years ago. His name is Brandon, but he's actually, this is the funniest thing, he's actually in Africa right now.
Being
really?
Being a mutt.
Being a mutt.
But he's a huge fan of yours. He goes to all your shows and all your concerts. Put us on to you early, but he would have loved to see you here.
Man, that's
My question
amazing.
for people that don't know Leon Thomas, you started on Broadway. Tell everybody how you got your start and your way into being this R&B star.
Well, listen, I grew up in New York, started on Broadway out here. I did 3 Broadway plays from Lion King, The Carolina Change, The Color Purple.
You were Simba in Lion King?
Yeah, I was Simba in Lion King. And then, I started booking movies and TV shows.
Before we slow down, but how was that? I just took my kids to see that.
Oh, no, it was insane.
So how was that training? Because it's a lot of shows, a lot of people, and it's live, so you can't mess up.
No, you can't mess up. It's 8 shows a week. I was 10 years old when I did my first Broadway play. Shout out to my mom and my family for, supporting me through that whole journey. And yeah, man, I went from being a regular kid to starring on Broadway in a matter of months, Yeah.
Now, how was that? Because it's not the typical thing New York kids do, right? So you're singing, you're dancing, you're doing that. So how did you get into that part of it?
New York kids do.
No, because you don't go to Broadway. I don't know anybody that went to Broadway, so it's very different.
New York kids that go on Broadway.
I don't.
I mean, I don't know. I had a couple homies who ended up in different plays, but for the most part, yeah, it was definitely like a bit of an anomaly for my neighborhood in Brooklyn. It was kind of weird explaining it to my homies at school. Like, yeah, I was just doing a show last night. They're like, what? What's going on?
Or maybe kids from a certain area.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like,
Kids from Brooklyn for sure.
Well, not from New York, from the hoods of New York.
Okay.
All right. Word. But nah, it was definitely a real pleasure, But from there, I ended up doing a lot of TV and film. I shot my first movie out here with Robin Williams and Terrence Howard called August Rush, which was an amazing pleasure, and that kind of brought me into a lot of TV after that. Yeah, with Nickelodeon and
He was on Victoria.
Victorious. Yeah, with Ariana Grande, and that was a big journey. That was the #1 show on the network at the time. We were beating out American Idol, and it was a way for the rest of the world to kind of really tap into who I am as a creative. But it took years of really honing in on who I am as an artist to get to this point, producing and writing for a bunch of different artists, winning a Grammy, working with SZA and Babyface, Drake, a bunch of different people. It's been a
You wrote for Drake?
I actually produced for Drake, but shout out to him, man.
A lot of people write for Drake allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, man. But for
I don't think
me,
there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. But it was a blessing to. I mean, it's interesting because I'm an artist and people see me as a singer. They kind of forget that I also produced a lot of big records. My production game is pretty tight. So
you sing like a rap nigga though.
Yeah, on purpose.
Your lyrics are like that of a rapper. That's why when I see Freddie Gibbs on your records or Benny the Butcher, it makes so much sense to me. You still keep in touch with anybody from Victorious?
Absolutely, man. I chop it up with Ari. Avin Jogia is a really good friend of mine. Matt Bennett. A lot of the cast, we all hang out and do lunch. It's kind of like my last 2 years of high school were with them. So that's like my graduating class, essentially. We were all in school together. So, we filmed, but we also went to school. So those are my really good friends.
Salute to Victoria and her mom. I hosted a New Year's Eve special with them.
Oh, for real?
Back in the
Oh,
day.
that's dope. That's dope.
They good people. You ever wrote for Ariana?
Yeah, actually, I worked with her on her first album. That was my first time going #1 with an album. I did about like 4 songs on her first album, Yours Truly.
Wow.
So that was a real pleasure. Yeah.
So you've been rich for a minute.
I was about to say, like, how did you know so young and like just being like, okay, I can act, I can dance, I can sing, but I can also go produce over here. Like how? Because a lot of people wait to diversify until they're like, you know, like exposed a little bit.
I mean,
more.
shout out to
You were
Jermaine
there, but-
Dupri. He used to have this YouTube series called Living the Life. It was Jermaine Dupri and Brian Michael Cox, and they were always in the studio like filming their process. And, you know, I saw them being rich black men, you know, also being able to be creative every day. And I wanted to kind of recreate that lifestyle for myself. Ryan Leslie as well, like seeing a lot of his YouTube videos inspired me to, you know, open up Logic and try to produce myself, you know.
Did you know you always wanted to be an R&B singer? Like, was that the goal as a kid growing up?
Oh,
or
for
did
sure.
you always want to be an actor? Like, and when did you pivot? When you was like, all right, this is what I want to do?
Listen, I feel like I did this role with Catherine Bigelow. She's an Oscar award-winning director, but I had to cut my dreads for it. And that was kind of like my last straw in acting. You know, I did this role for Detroit, and I felt like, you know, I need to kind of tap back into who I am as an artist and, you know, grew my dreads back, really got into my internal self, meditating, really like tapping into who I am as a human being. And a lot of great music came out of that. You know, I always knew I wanted to be a singer, but I knew for a fact I needed to really present myself as who I truly was. It's so easy to play a character when you're always acting. You know, I needed to come to the world as my true self.
Now, you are Leon Thomas III.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
the first two Leons have any background in music?
Not really, you know, but my grandfather, I didn't get a lot of time with my grandfather, but my dad always told me that he was a real lover of music. And my dad sings, but he's an assistant principal now. But my grandfather, who actually recently just passed, God bless his soul, John Anthony was an opera singer and was on Broadway and Hello Dolly, and I used to be the music director for One Life to Live out here in New York, all of the soap operas back in the day. So, you know, I was definitely surrounded by music just through my mom and her side of the family.
Oh, so your mom was the musician?
Yeah,
so that's
my
the Black Rock
mom's side.
Coalition?
Yeah. So my mom, Jayon Anthony, she had a club day band in New York. Used to be the house band for the World Trade Center. You know, played a lot of the big clubs out here, and I just grew up backstage with her, and you know, just really hanging out, you know, learning music.
So what was the Black Rock Coalition?
So the Black Rock Coalition, there was clubs like CBGB's. An array of different clubs where it was kind of awkward at a certain point in the 1980s where, you know, rock was created by us, but there was definitely elements of prejudice within that genre, and all of the black rock stars decided to come together. You know, the cast from Living Color, a bunch of them just all came together to really protect each other through moments of, you know, turmoil, through that season of the 80s and early 90s. And it's just good to have each other's back, especially in a genre where you're not always celebrated.
When you were on the like the sets, when you like even with like Victorious and stuff like that, what was your mom and like your parents there often? Or,
Oh yeah, my mom.
Because Ariana Grande talked a lot about that too, like how y'all parents were close.
Nah, they were there. You know, my mom was never like a momager, like over my shoulder kind of mom, but she was also very protective of my peace.
Got you.
And mental health, and making sure that I'm just like in a good space while I'm trying to create something timeless. And you know, shout out to her for always, you know, creating safe spaces for me throughout that journey. You know,
Probably kept you from getting slimed.
Yeah,
Getting quiet on set, Doc.
It was definitely nuts. Definitely nuts. You know, seeing how everything went down.
Definitely nuts.
It was definitely insane.
Definitely
insane.
Gotta say, don't say that. Definitely nuts after that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy because, you know, I just saw the doc not too long ago. It was definitely eye opening. And a lot of my castmates, we hopped on a Zoom call. We all wanted to talk about it. And I mean, luckily during our seasons, it was very wholesome and chill. But you know, shout out to anybody who dealt with anything bad. I mean, you know, my heart definitely goes out to them.
Did you have a childhood growing up? Like, were you able to do things that normal kids did, or was it always, I'm on set, I'm working?
Yeah, I mean, you know, to be completely real with you, I had a great childhood. My mom made sure that, you know, I had a good group of friends. You know, I went to public school up until my last 2 years of high school. You know, I feel like having that grounded energy was definitely important for even me as a songwriter and a producer now and an artist. You know, I feel like, you know, I come from a very human place. It's not like I try to detach from who I am organically, you know.
The thing I love about your music too is, number one, I can tell you got a sense of freedom.
Yeah.
So does that come with money, or does that come with just how you came up, with your mom doing music? So you always felt free as an artist?
Yeah,
like, what is
yeah.
it?
I mean, I think the greatest thing about being an artist is that it's a great representation of being a free black man.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to wear what I want, say what I want on record is really important to me. I try to stay as grounded and as real to who I am as I can be. I mean, I think it's really easy to want to be an artist and play a character who you think people want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm doing my best to just kind of just say what I want, do what I want,
When you come up with songs with I like Feelings on Silent with
Yeah.
Wale. I love Wale. But
Yeah.
songs like that, like when I listen to it, each time I get something different from it. So the
Yeah.
first time I listened, I was like, oh, this is like guys just being like, we keep our feelings to ourselves. And then the second
Yeah.
time I listened, I'm like, this is the trauma that they deal with, because like he mentions PTSD and
Yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of other things. Like,
Mhm.
how do you, first of all, sitting back, you wrote that.
Yeah,
right?
I co-wrote
Sitting
that.
back and writing it with him,
Mhm.
how do you be like, okay, here's all the things that we want people to get when they hear this, or do you guys just write and whatever people get, they get? Like, were you dealing with something yourself then, or?
The way I wrote that record was really interesting. I was in Italy actually. I was working with Ye and Ty Dolla $ign on the Vultures 1 project, and we were at the Medici Estate, which is this really beautiful 4 seasons that they have out there. Beautiful garden, and I'm listening to the instrumental from Conductor, walking through the garden, and I just had some lyrics kind of, bubbling up in my head, went back and we recorded it. But I think it was one of those moments that it was just kind of stream of consciousness. I didn't really think too hard on my sections. That was like my second take that you're hearing there. It wasn't like me kind of really punching in a bunch of different ideas. It was just kind of flowing. And when Wale heard it, that was probably the hardest verse to get, because we did
Get him back outside, because
we did like 5 sessions to get that one verse. But yo, he's so talented, and seeing how he crafted his verse, I mean, he would do like 5 bars at a time, and he really cared about the poetry of it all, and it's why I really respect him as an artist. He's just a true lyricist.
Salute to my guy Wale. You signed to Ty Dolla $ign, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Easy Money. And it's in conjunction with Motown Records, and just between legacy and a new imprint, I think it's been really cool to kind of break ground in R&B right now. It's been a real special thing.
I don't feel like Motown Records is doing enough for you. I don't know why Leon Thomas is not in heavy rotation on every radio station across the planet. Whatever that button is that they need to push, it needs to be pushed.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. Well, I feel like opportunities like this are really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like radio stations are definitely looking at platforms like this to say, okay, yeah, we feel comfortable, trusting this new name and new face. I've been doing this a long time, but I still look at this as a new artist journey, because I really just started like taking the artist journey serious these last 5 years. So I'm really thankful for the growth. I'm thankful for the wins, and there's people working really hard at those labels with actually a lot of underfunding and the collapsing of labels into one. It's just a lot of work, and a lot of people are losing jobs. So people are afraid to push that button sometimes. Yeah. It could be the demise of their entire career. So I really respect the work that they're doing. I just know that this year is going to be really special for me, man. I mean, I've been doing a lot of praying and manifesting for just new things, and this was definitely on my bucket list, so I'm just appreciative to be here.
Have any program directors or DJs approached you and said, "Hey, if you slide me this under the table"?
Nah.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Know, please, so
yeah, I'm gonna let you know, man. I got a new homie. You know what I mean? A new big homie.
We got to congratulate you on your Grammy. We tell everybody that we helped with that because we played Snooze every morning. 4 times a morning here at
6 a.m.
Yeah, 6 a.m.
Yeah,
but you wrote Snooze.
No, I produced on Snooze, man. Yo, first off, let's clear this up. Shout out to SZA for writing that record. We were producing in a separate room, and she heard the instrumental and was like, "Yo, what is that?" And there is something that I do where I like take my voice and I chop it up like a sample, because clearing samples is really expensive and it cuts into the publishing. So rather than like actually doing a sample, I'll just sing a little sample. Something, right? So she really liked that, and then took it into the other room and wrote an amazing song. And being a part of the production on that with Babyface, legendary Babyface, was a true pleasure, man. I mean, it was a real journey to see that song go from like a crowd favorite to a Grammy Award winning R&B song, man. That was definitely life changing for me.
You got a production team, right? It's the Rascals.
Yeah, the Rascals. Me and Chris Tynes, man. We've been working together since we were like 18, so it's really cool to to see the growth. I mean, we started off, a little shaky when it came to production, but it's nice to see us, really develop into the producers we are now. We had great mentors, man.
You have such big moments. Like, I thought I was tripping, but you just said these last 5 years is when you feel like things started really moving for you
as an artist.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I know you outside of being an artist, but you have such big moments even before that and during that. But it's like, I don't know, like when do you feel like things started like to click finally, where people were like, oh shoot, Leon, like we get it now?
It's really interesting. I like to call it the Drake effect. When I was working with Drake, all of a sudden label executives who have known me for years were like, "Yeah, I think you could be an artist,"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "All right, okay." So I kind of peeped that and I said, "Okay, well, let's start kind of building this out." But I knew I wanted that same formula that Drake had with Lil Wayne, and working with Ty Dolla $ign was a really smart move. Not only because he's just an amazing artist, but because it was just nice to have a mentor who had done it already. So he's just like kind of like, yo, try this, make sure the look has this, or even when it came to the music, like here's how you really format an album. And I'm definitely doing a lot of studying. Shout out to Ty Dolla $ign for sure. He definitely saw something in me that a lot of label executives were not sure about, and it's cool to see it developing.
How did y'all
in real
meet?
time.
How did you and Ty Dolla $ign meet?
I was actually working on his album as a producer featuring Ty Dolla $ign. I was like one of, I think, 9 producers on a song with Kanye and Thundercat and a bunch of other people.
9 producers on one record?
Yeah, because it's like,
was like
when it was like 0.5, like I was just there, added a this or that, a vocal and like some bass or something. And then, but he had everybody play like their unreleased records, and I played him some of my first album as like demos. And Ty was like, yo, you're really tight, as an artist. He was like, man. And he was originally trying to record one of the songs that I had, but I was like, nah, I want you to feature on it. And over the years, we became really good friends. I was working with him a lot, and just kind of developed into a whole situation with Sean Barron. Sean Barron is the guy who officially like put it all together with Easy Money and Motown.
Is it tough navigating, because people are getting to know you now and everybody's falling in love with your music now, and like you have such a close association with Drake, you have to like pick and choose where you go musically and what you do musically with who?
Honestly,
she's asking, can you work with Kendrick Lamar if you wanted to?
Yeah. I know that's what she's asking. I mean, the way I really look at it is just like on a political level, I make R&B. Obviously I make hip hop too, but I'm really focused on my artist journey. So I mean, Kendrick is such a huge artist. I don't really foresee us working together in the near future. And even with Drake, I still want to take my steps to really build on my own 2 feet as an artist.
Right.
So I'm doing what I have to do right now to really like grow my own business. Touring is a big thing for me. I'm really focused on that. I'm hitting the road all this year and working on more records. So I mean, shout out to everybody, but I'm definitely focused on me.
I want to ask you a business question about the production before we get into both of these great albums. But you, when you are part of the Rascals, if y'all produce but then you write, how do you get another check for writing? Is that 2 different checks, or?
Publishing is interesting because you want to leave room for the artist, but I would definitely ask for more percentages if we were really heavily involved in the writing as well. But it's just an interesting thing, we try to keep it pretty even on the most part when it comes to production, especially if everybody was in the room from the beginning of the record.
But what if it's your pen? It's everybody's production, but your pen.
Right.
Do you get a bigger slice of the pie? Or?
Well, I mean, it's like 50-50. So
Okay.
you have the first 50 is the production side, and the way I look at it is melody and drums, and then the second 50 is just the writing side. And it's just based off of how much you ended up writing of the song, because a lot of artists are very involved with their storyline and lyrics and hook ideas. So I have no problem splitting that 25 there, and then if I got 15 on the production or 25 on the production, now I got 50% of a record.
Do y'all talk about that while y'all doing it, or because it can get
Nasty
after?
You kind of just flows and then you end up on both sides.
I'm only giving you 2%.
Trust me, we've definitely been through some things, after the fact. People get amnesia, but I think it's really easier when you figure that out the day it happens. We used to have split sheets there at the studio, which I thought was a really good practice, but we kind of let go of that. So
would you pull out your phone and just in your notes be like, I put this there? Like, how do you keep up? Because you
that's
in the
why
mode.
It's just way easier and I think smarter to just split everything even. You know, if you can.
Artists is doing that though. People want to keep what they can get.
Yeah. I mean, some artists with us they are, especially if we writing and producing a song. You know.
Gotcha.
How is it with Kanye though when you do splits and stuff like that?
Oh Lord, it's a little interesting, man. But you know, shout out to him. I feel like that experience was like more so just school for me on a production level. I've never seen anybody be so magical with their imagination. He would have these ideas, and it was so cool to see teams of people make that a reality. And I think that's what I could take from that. I mean, publishing is important, but you know, it's the true life experience from seeing a free black man put stuff together was like really tight.
How old were you when you realized Vibes Don't Lie? One of my favorite records of all time.
Thanks,
How old were
man.
you when you first realized Vibes Don't Lie?
I think that was definitely early 20s. I think LA is filled with facades and people who are pretending to be something they aren't, people who move from their hometown and create a whole new persona. So I think for me, just really studying folks, especially a lot of the women you deal with out there, it's really important to study their actions and not their words.
I love the fact that you are encouraging women to keep their pussy healthy.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever want to be a gynecologist?
No,
that wasn't proper pussy health.
No, that wasn't on the list. I just listen, man.
Like,
yeah, I just listen, man.
So they tell you like, hey, my pussy's not feeling the best today.
No, I mean I just think pH balance is a conversation, and I just listen, man.
Smell something. Smell something. That's what it was.
Smell something.
That's what it was. Because you was very, very specific. You said she only drink water. She keep that pussy healthy.
Yeah.
They said on Twitter you be talking crazy like that, but you sing it so people can't be mad.
They can't really
so when
like.
you have that conversation in real life with your home, like you're not your homegirl, your
Nah,
shorty.
honestly,
like,
you know what? I'm just big on shock value. I think songs, especially R&B songs, have gotten a bit not boring, but I think we've kind of already hit the golden era of R&B. So I'm just finding new ways to make people's ears, perk up and their minds move. I think social media and podcasts are really interesting to me. These phone mics bring out so many conversations. And I think as an R&B artist, I want to find ways to let that live on the record. And it doesn't always have to be like verbatim of what I'm going through in real life. I think it's important to create the drama, I kind of see music as, script and a score. So sometimes the records are just like really good dramatizations of like what I'm seeing in the world.
You've encountered some unhealthy vaginas, don't lie.
I was gonna say, so you
I
never
think
had that
everybody,
conversation?
yeah,
but like
yeah,
how? But like how does that go for you? Like now?
I mean, I don't think it's
now
really
or like women expecting you to be like, all right, here's the check. Like how do you? Because you got the songs, like they're there.
Yeah. I definitely got the songs, but I think it's just important to be honest with your partner. Communicate. But I think it's a pretty interesting conversation. I try to stay out of if I don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
You ever did the earwax test?
No, I don't even know what that is, man. You putting me on right now. What's an earwax test?
Dig in your ear a little bit. There's a little wax on it. Put a little pinky. Put the pinky inside her.
Hold on.
If
What
she
is
jump,
that?
She got something.
What?
That's right. Pussy ain't as healthy as it should be.
Leon, if you listen to
Man,
him, you're going to catch a
like
disease.
Yo, that's
Ladies, you
insane.
should do it on yourself.
I don't know where he got
First off,
that
anybody
from.
who's
heard that
letting
in
you
my
do that
life.
is nuts.
That's some South Carolina
That's
back
insane.
roads thing that they do. It doesn't. I do not try that.
Nah, that's
Ginger ale
wild.
works. That doesn't. Like,
Ginger
okay.
ale.
Y'all never heard?
Ginger ale?
Your mom never told you like, you got stomach ache, go drink ginger ale.
We ain't talking about stomach aches. We talking about
I'm
pH
just
balance
saying,
being
black
off.
people think ginger ale cure everything, not earwax. Don't listen to him.
Yo, this is the last
Ginger
thing I thought I'd be
ale
talking
in
about.
her vagina.
Your mom ain't
pH
telling you
balance.
I've never heard that.
Put ginger ale on your vagina. That's why you
vagina
single.
stink.
Anybody
Pour
else
ginger
ever
ale
heard?
on it.
Y'all never heard that.
That's why you single.
I don't know how y'all
That's
grew
why you
up.
single.
I don't know how
Delaware is
y'all grew
crazy.
up. My grandma used to be like, go get some ginger ale and lay down.
Wow.
About
All
everything.
Yeah. No. We love ginger ale around here.
One thing I don't respect is what you did on How Fast though.
Oh, what's up? Oh, the Honda.
You shit on people in Hondas.
No.
Why?
No.
What's wrong with Hondas? One of the most reliable car brands ever.
I love a good Honda. My dad has a Honda. I love Hondas. Here's the deal. It was a quick bar. I was just in the booth whining. I don't really have a problem with it. I think it was just more so I was just flowing, and I'm big on not doing too many edits. Like when I record a record, it's like what's coming to my mind on the first or second take is what's gonna be there, and I like to stand on my first mind. And it was more so just talking about the competition being slower than I am because I'm moving at such a fast pace. you know, the metaphor was about that. It had nothing to do with Honda.
What was your first car?
But a Honda, you know, compared to a Lamborghini is pretty, you know, pretty slow.
No, but yeah, but,
is it? No, it is.
Civics are more reliable. Civics will stick with you like herpes, bro. They beat you forever.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
My first car was a Benz CLK 500.
God
Yeah.
damn.
He's been getting money for. We just talked about his career.
I was a
You
Honda
was
Accord.
gonna say Altima? Like,
Nah. That was my first one. Yeah.
Did your therapist really tell you that you're too detached? Or is that just something you tell women so you don't commit?
Nah, I think you know, that bar for me, I have a co-writer, Busy Krug, and he lives in Miami, great rapper. That was a bar that came from him. He's very deep into therapy, but I'm glad that we talked about it on record because, I mean, it's something that I definitely did try out over the pandemic, and it's something that I actually really respect you a lot for championing, you know?
Thank you, brother.
But yeah, that was a bar from Busy, but I thought it was important to add in there, you know?
don't try to blame Busy now.
Nah, I mean, that's my
I'm joking,
co-writer. You know,
I'm
shout
joking.
out to him. You know what I'm saying? Like we write a lot of our songs together, and I really respect a lot of the perspectives he brings to a lot of my poignant records. You know, he has some great bars.
On for Dancing with when I listen to Dancing with the Demons,
Yeah.
Do you ever get like Miguel references sometimes?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was listening and I'm like, oh my
yeah.
gosh. Like I wonder if like that, like are y'all, do you know him? Do
Yeah,
y'all
that's
talk?
like my
Is
big bro. We actually did a movie together. He was in Detroit, the one I had to cut my hair for. He was an amazing mentor for me for some years. And you know, that bridge between R&B and rock and roll, he's traveled across that bridge many a time. I definitely look up to him when it comes to that. And, you know, for me, because I play multiple instruments, you know, I definitely try to just embody a lot of that energy. But I think we both have the same influences as well.
I agree with Lauren on that. Miguel, to me, before you, was the last great male R&B singer. To me, I'm just talking about the new guys. I'm not talking about the OG legends. I'm talking about he was the last one to me, and I felt the same way when I heard "Dancing with the Demons." I feel like you're talking to yourself on that record, though.
I am.
Okay.
You know,
you can't seem to save yourself.
Microdosing. I was microdosing on shrooms for a lot of like those batch of records, and it's like a very interesting thing because it connects your neural pathways in a certain way, and you kind of start looking inward a lot more. And you know, that record was definitely like an internal conversation just on wax.
Yeah, you said you can't seem to save yourself, never learn to ask for help, going out all night searching for a feeling. So what have you learned to ask for help?
It's a one, but I thought because I took it as like it wasn't talking about a woman.
Nah.
At some point.
Well, I mean, it's interesting for me. Like that record, when I wrote it in 2 different days. The first day, I was, you know, microdosing on shrooms, so it was a bit of a haze. The next day I listened to it and I was like, man, this is really poignant stuff. I mean, it's just really talking about being up all night and searching for a feeling, and it's trying to fill voids. I feel like as you know, when you're in your single journey, you can try to fill a void with a stranger, and that's not always very healthy.
But fun.
It could be fun. It could be fun for sure. But and then especially when you're in the limelight, the second verse is more so talking about being in the limelight and trying to fill voids. Nobody really talks about the darkness that comes with the flashing lights. And yeah, that record was very deep and very personal for me. You know, I'm glad that people resonate with it.
You said never learn to ask for help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's it's really interesting because one of the experiences I had with therapy was I was with a therapist, and I'm talking about all this deep stuff in my life and, you know, trying to unpack things. And at the end of it, he's like, have you ever been to a basketball game courtside? What's that like?
Oh,
and he just started asking like all this stuff about like being famous essentially. And I don't know, it was just like an awkward moment for me, a place where I thought I could be safe. In that one instance, since then I've found a really good therapist, but in that moment, it was definitely one of those things where it was like, damn, it's hard to ask for help because even when you ask for it, sometimes you don't get the right kind.
I think when you're a black man, especially a black man in your position, it's hard to find culturally competent therapists because there's a lot of things that you're going to deal with that you're going to want somebody to understand.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man. But you know, shout out to the great therapists out there. You know, it it's definitely a amazing journey that I'm trying to dig back into a lot more as I continue to grow as a human being.
Now you talk about microdosing on shrooms.
Yeah.
Where does that put your mind, and do you always do that to produce and write?
Nah. I mean, I think for this album, it was an interesting opportunity to kind of unplug. I mean, I wasn't doing as many shows around that time too, so it was really helpful to kind of just get into my own head and try to figure out who I am. You know, I definitely did a lot of manifesting, a lot of just like writing down who I wanted to be as a human being around that time, a lot of journaling, you know, and looking back at that season in my life, it was a journey for me to evolve into who I am right now. I wouldn't suggest people just go super crazy on shrooms or anything, but I think microdosing, you know, a small amount could be healthy if you're trying to just find yourself, you know. And at that time, I was trying to find myself, you know.
Yeah, I've microdosed. I've macrodosed too.
Yeah.
It don't really do nothing for me though. It just it feels like everything is in HD.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, if you got real things that you're trying to deal with internally, I think it can, you know, put that in HD as well. Yeah.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. Now, see that I mean, you know, I feel like I need to go down and live some more life before I really hit that Will Smith journey. You know, he always talks about ayahuasca and stuff, but
you only do it when it calls you.
Yeah, exactly.
And like for me, it was calling me for like about 6 years, 7 years. It was calling me. I did it for the first time last year.
Oh wow. How was that for you?
Incredible. I did a three day journey.
Man, yeah. My boy, his dad runs like a whole situation in I think Mexico or something, for like ayahuasca and stuff. So I don't know, man. Maybe one day.
You said you were trying to find yourself. Did you find yourself?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's a constant journey. That's like the whole part of finding yourself. You realize it never stops because we're always evolving, you know. But it's great that I was able to do it through music. That was like a version of musical therapy for me, and I'm glad that people are resonating with it, you know.
I love how you're normalizing dogs on Mutt. Not I'm not a dog anymore. But there is a young, unhealed version of me that would have really appreciated that record because you make it sound so fun. And it's almost like women are just gonna bring you in, like, oh, come in, you stray dog. Let me domesticate you.
Nah, I mean, I was really just documenting what I saw.
Cut it out.
But nah. It's definitely parts of me. It's definitely parts of me post.
Now you document what you saw. It's okay. We identify
there was definitely
with the
parts
music
of me post, post breakup where I just had to figure it out. But I think that's all a part of living, you know.
Do you get nervous though?
This was a post breakup like album. Wow. Yeah. This is a post breakup album. So this is me documenting, you know, finding myself. First off, like, you know, you're kind of broken after that, and then you gotta put the pieces back together.
Her fault, yes.
It's not her fault.
Yes,
I mean, it's
it
our
is.
fault.
Yes,
you know.
Listen, Leon, it's her fault that you ended up being a dog. You went through your whole phase. It's her fault.
I bet.
Okay.
But wait, so when you did Electric Dust, you said that you were happily single during that project too?
Yeah.
So then you got in a relationship after that?
Here's the deal. When I was making Mutt, it was at the same time that I had released Electric Dust. Like I started Mutt at the exact same time that I was releasing the Electric Dust. So we were at our tail end when I was doing How Fast of our relationship, and then everything after that was breakup. So the first record was like the only season where we were still together.
Wow.
And then like after that was me just kind of, you know, combing through my brain, trying to figure things out. Nights in LA, wilding out, you know what I'm saying? But I think it all turned into great music. So, you know, I'm glad I'm here to tell the story.
Did a woman ever tell you that for real? Like, take your time, don't you rush, and you like, I know I'm a dog, I'm a Mutt.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know. I think that's an interesting bar because it was definitely a time, you know. Take your time. Let's slow down, baby. Yeah.
I think everybody should go through their whole phases, men and women. Like you should go through that phase where you get to just be free and be who you are and explore and lay down with who you want to lay down with.
Scared of that whole phase for brothers, man. It's nasty out
hectic
there. I
out
see
here.
so much going on.
Like you're super famous.
Hectic,
like everything about you is super recognizable. So how do you like? I don't know if you out the whole phase yet or not, but
yeah.
How do you avoid the bullshit?
Because we ain't hear about you. You ain't hit the shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's just important to really stay focused on being grounded and nice to people and communicate. You know, that was the biggest thing. But I'm definitely in a journey of you know, trying to find my person right now. I know that may sound corny to certain people, but I think, you know, for me, I've seen so many examples of huge artists, very rich people, who don't necessarily have love and a support system around them outside of their family. And I want to build that for myself in my 30s. You know, I'm 31 right now, so I'm looking forward to like having that, you know, at the end of it all.
You got about 5 more years.
Yeah. But I mean, you know,
when you find that
figure
person,
it out. Yeah.
when
I find the right person, I'm locking that down. Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for you to find that right person because of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been with my woman for 26 years, and you've been with this woman for what, 30 years. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's gonna be hard for you just because you are Leon Thomas. You don't even know if girls like you for real.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
I think it's very commendable too that on the song "Safe Place," you let the person you're dealing with know this isn't a safe place.
Yeah.
What inspired that?
I mean, I think knowing that I wasn't necessarily ready to settle down, I think that conversation definitely came up a lot during, I guess you would call it my whole phase. You know, just understanding like, yo, I'm not trying to settle down. This is a fun place. You know, this is a time period where I'm just figuring me out. Work is crazy. It's hectic. You know, and I think having that conversation was important to, like you said, just avoid people not understanding what it was at the time.
How does that feel, Lauren? Like when you're a woman and a guy comes to you and a guy says, I'm a dog, I'm a mutt, or a guy says, look, baby, we can kick it, but this ain't a safe place.
I think it depends on the type of woman you are.
Well, you know, she's that person. She's the one that
first
tells.
Of all,
is that right?
She is a mutt.
First of all,
the way they tell it.
Don't listen to them. Like, don't listen to them. No, I think
we lying.
You are lying. I think that you can appreciate honesty, but I also think that the honesty is unrealistic on both sides because eventually, if you're spending enough time together, regardless of what space it's not, you kind of get in a habit, even if you're not attached. No, not of lying, but like of wanting to be with that person. So that it becomes consistent. Then emotions and feelings come that you both said in the beginning weren't going to happen. So it doesn't work out. The safe space becomes... It's exploding now because everybody's all over the place emotionally.
That's something I didn't really, identify in the song, but she's.
But are you that honest in person though? Because you're honest in music, but it's difficult to be face to face with somebody and be like,
it's very difficult.
Place, baby.
It's very difficult. But I really try my best to be as honest as I can. You know, but those are hard conversations, man. You know, I can't sit here and say I've always done it right or I'm perfect or anything, but I try to be like real. You know, I try to explain myself, but even when you explain yourself, sometimes wires get crossed, you know, so unpacking it and communicating, you know, is an important thing later on.
Yeah, don't no woman want to hear that shit after she just let you hit raw.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Has a woman ever said that to you when you were trying to like create like all right, maybe this is like a thing, and she's like, yo, I like you, but I don't want to do that to you.
Yeah, actually, yeah. In my early 20s, I was talking to this amazing artist, and she was just like, listen, baby, this ain't a safe place kind of thing. You know?
Anybody we know now?
She's like, nah. I don't think you guys
tear
are
it up a little bit.
Yeah, no. It was all good for me. I mean, at that point,
the shades all fogging up. I ain't gonna lie.
Nah, you tear it up a little bit.
But you know, it was definitely, a realization for me. I was like, oh, it can happen on that side too. I was like 20, maybe 21. You know,
oh,
you cried in the car.
Yeah. So I was like real young and kind of, green. Like, oh, okay, all right, bet, cool.
So you all looking for a relationship now? If the right person.
Yeah. I'm definitely in that mode right now.
You dating? Would you date other like artists, celebrities, or do you like? How does that work? Are you doing?
It's
that
just
right
hectic. Now? I mean, you're kind of inviting the media into your life, like the one safe place you have. But I mean, who knows? If I really catch a vibe with somebody who happens to be I mean, I don't really care about that side of things. You know, I've been in the game a long time. I've met some beautiful women who are amazing artists, but it's just about the human being, you know, and it can be tough to really build something if both of your schedules are super hectic. So I don't know.
Even that's difficult though, because you could be dating a female artist who might be using you for your pen, who might be using you for your production.
You never know. You never know. But I mean, regardless, I feel like it doesn't matter. There's always an ebb and flow of like people using you for something.
That's true.
You know, it's a give and take no matter how you really look at it. I think it's just important to at least be with somebody who genuinely cares and unpacking enough to get behind the facade that is the first 6-month filter, I like to call it, of when people are acting all upright and righteous. You know, after those 6 months, you can really usually unpack and find like a good idea of who that person is.
So what does a safe place look like for Leon Thomas?
A safe place, you know, for me is being able to be honest with that person. And I'm goofy in real life, you know, so I want to have fun. life can be kind of serious. So I like my partner to be able to have a good time with me, watch movies, go kick it, run around, like be a big kid with me.
You had an interesting line in the song in Safe Place where you say you put that on your trauma. And like trauma is something that we're all trying to heal from.
Right.
But you said it like it was like a badge of honor almost. Like you say you put that on my mom.
Yeah, put that on my mom.
Put that on the homies, whatever.
Yeah.
So why do you put that on the trauma? Like, what does that mean?
I mean, I think it all kind of plays into the reasoning for why it's not a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a bit of a badge of honor in that record for sure. Because I think we should be able to wear our traumas in a way of being survivors of epic things, and being able to move past that and evolve from that,
Well, you want to get into a joint off down?
I don't want to ask him a question too about the another record on Far Fetched.
Yeah.
You said because we was having a big conversation this week about tricking because Skip Bayless allegedly offered somebody $1.5 million.
Oh my God.
And you say paid for my mistakes in Benzes and Diamonds, $250 fronted like you was my artist, 5 G's just to cross the Atlantic. We sat in silence for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a horrible vacation.
$250,000.
Yeah.
Benzes and Diamonds.
Well, listen. When I wrote that record, it was not for me. That was not a joint that I was originally going to use for me. It was for somebody really famous and really rich, but I just love the way it sounded. And I was like, well, you know what? I love to speak in a world where I can actually afford that. Why not? Let's manifest that. Let's go.
Don't you feel as an R&B artist, though, when you write records for other people, but then you sing them yourself, you're setting a expectation that's not real for you? Because if I'm sitting here, I'm like,
it's
damn.
art. It's art.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at artists like Black Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne really wasn't eating bats, but it's like it's so funny though. Because well, accidentally, but but the whole thing is that in rock and roll and pop they get to live in these fantasy worlds, but it's so interesting in R&B and hip hop. It's like has to be so real and culture based, and it's like. Nah, I think it's important for us to be able to imagine and dream and create worlds that don't exist sometimes. Because I think that won't stifle new artists from continuing to do the same thing. Like, dream up the biggest thing. Drake even said in some of his bars back in the day, he was talking about Rolls Royces and Bentleys and shit that he just didn't have, at the time. So it's essentially me doing the same thing. And I always speak, future focused, abundance mindset. I'm trying to build a world where, I can definitely afford that. So why not?
Oh, so you would trick. You would give a girl $250,000.
You know what? That's not how I'll be spending my money, Charlamagne. But just the fact that I could afford it, let's go.
In Lucid Dreams, you talk about your significant other leaving things behind.
Yeah, that was a fun record with Masego.
After a breakup. Why do you think that topic is taboo?
I don't really consider it taboo necessarily, but I think it's just funny because for me, I was living with my ex for like a couple years, so she just had like a closet filled with clothes at my crib, and it had been like a year and a half since we had broken up. So we were in the studio talking about different things. The guitarist and producer on that song, Freaky Rob, his girl left a flat screen at the house that he had to use to watch Netflix. So he was like, man, when is she gonna take this flat screen? And Masego also had a similar situation like that at his crib with the couch. So we were all just kind of using all of our different experiences, putting it into a song, and just locking it in.
It's different when it's closed, though.
Yeah, you cleared out the closet?
Yeah, definitely
right?
clears out
okay.
cleared out the closet.
Did you move out of the apartment, or you just cleared out the closet?
I'm still at the crib.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Still at the crib. There's definitely a certain interior design choices I'm gonna switch up soon, but
this is like real recent.
Yeah.
Oh.
You think these labels know how to market R&B nowadays, especially male R&B?
I think it's kind of interesting because we used to have 106 in Park. We used to have like a different perspective on R&B, and I feel like the fantasy could be alive in a different way. A lot of the music is driven by culture recently, which I think is dope. But R&B is definitely a place of fantasy. Jodeci in the desert and leather, it's like a very ethereal place sometimes when you really look at it. So I think it's really tough for labels to find that balance, and especially because most R&B artists are like really inspired by alternative music. So you got your babies of SZA and of Brent and Miguel even, and it's kind of hard. It's not the same thing they used to have to market, and a lot of the same executives.
Too much options, right? Because if you think about it, before the label gave people what they wanted to hear.
Oh, for sure.
But now it's like you put out an album, and it's almost like they wait to see what song connects first.
Exactly.
Oh, Mutt connects, so we're gonna go with Mutt.
Right.
Dance with Demons connects. So I think you give people too much of an option and allow people to pick their own.
Even when they connect, they still don't know what the hell to do with it.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. I definitely don't envy their seat right now, trying to figure out how to navigate through 9 different platforms, social media, a TikTok that's about to go away in a couple months, and
Frank McCourt's gonna buy it.
You think so?
Frank McCourt's gonna buy it.
I bet. But regardless, the shit's fucking nuts. Like everybody's trying to figure it out. Like it's just really hard to deal with,
So yeah, and it don't feel like it's a separation either, right? Because if I look at Leon Thomas, he looks like a rapper kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. There used to be a look to R&B singing.
Yeah.
But your aesthetic is like fashion, your shows are like the lighting. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but like the lights you use and stuff like that, it all gives like a artsy, creative, like hipster vibe. But
I'm
no
just doing what I want.
Flexy, no.
I mean, I'm doing what I want, man.
Okay,
I'm really just rocking. I mean, I think for those of us out there in the R&B world who want to have, the 6-pack and do the gyrating and the baby oil and shit, like, do your thing.
Baby
but like,
oil is a little different in 2020.
But what I'm saying is that like the whole vibe of it is that's its own thing. I think what I'm creating creatively is my own world, and it's rooted in rock and roll. It's rooted in doing what I want to do, and I'm glad I have the creative control to go there.
That's the beauty of R&B artists, though, because there's so many R&B artists that are just ugly, but their music is so good that women love them.
Oh, you mean like actually ugly, not just ugly people?
Like cosmetically challenged.
Okay.
Cosmetically challenged.
But they get on stage and they do the flexing and the singing, and women lose their freaking minds.
Right. But
He's not calling you ugly, brother.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm like, hold on.
That's the beauty of it, because there's so many ugly artists out there.
Not at all, for sure.
That's not my place to say.
For real.
Lauren, is he ugly?
Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Lauren.
Mm-hmm. Can we get into a song off the album? What you want to hear?
That would be amazing.
We played Mutt this morning. What you want to hear right now?
Yo, let's play Yes It Is. That would be really cool.
All right, well, let's get into it right now. Yes, it is. The album is out right now. Make sure you pick it up, and we appreciate you for joining us, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's a big opportunity.
Thank you so much. It's Leon Thomas. The album Mutt is out now, and it's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.